clear of the closing doors, please.
All right, here we go. We are not live on Subway Sports Talk, but I am Peter Kennedy. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into SST on your Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or on YouTube. And the New York Knicks take a one-game lead against the Boston Celtics in Boston, and we got to talk about it. You can do so by hitting me on Twitter at Pete Kennedy with 2 Y's or at Subway Sports Talk on all your socials, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, on YouTube as well. But right here, right now, we got some things to talk about. And what I have to say is that the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics series went off to an absolute perfect start for the people here in New York. However, I am a firm believer that two things can be true at once. And despite the place that the Knicks put themselves in right here, right now, going up a game, winning at the TD Garden, this series is obviously far from over. And right here, right now, it is also completely fair to say that it is more likely for the Boston Celtics to win this series in 5 than it is for the New York Knicks to win this in 4, 5, or 6. I might as well throw in 7 because the odds have shown us the picture here. The Vegas odds, the sportsbooks odds, they have told us what we needed to see. Starting off this series on DraftKings, the Boston Celtics were minus 900, with the New York Knicks coming in at plus 650 range. After the Knicks upset the Boston Celtics in Game 1, that has switched. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, it's switched quite a bit. That's not the case. But it has moved a good margin. Right now, the Boston Celtics are minus 340 to win the series, and the New York Knicks plus 270 on DraftKings. Now, that's a massive move. To go from minus 900 to minus 340 is crazy. But that's what we saw in Game 1. But I want to talk about the 3 big things that we saw in Game 1 and we can now look forward to in Game 2 and beyond. The first one is incredibly important to talk about because it's been one of the biggest talking points across the country about this series. The Boston Celtics missed a NBA playoff record 45 three-pointers in Game 1. Now, if you've watched the Boston Celtics in the past, you would know that this was possible. If you watched them all season long, you would know that they take this many threes. This was an abnormal amount. They were settling quite a bit, but it's what they do. The Boston Celtics let it fly from 3. Now, the easy answer is to say, hey, the Boston Celtics won't be missing this many threes again. They're not going to miss 45 threes again. And I agree with that. They are not. But the number one thing I want to talk about is that is not as simple as the math needs to be in this scenario. Yeah, of course, you can say simply, oh, if the Boston Celtics hit 2, 3, 4 more threes, the Knicks don't win that game. Well, first of all, they didn't. Second of all, if you want to play that game, let's play another game. The New York Knicks shot 54% from the free throw line. Mitchell Robinson by himself, 3 out of 10. Mitchell Robinson, career 60+% free throw shooter. What if he hit 3 more? Okay. You want to play that game? Mikal Bridges, 3 of 13 from the field. What if he hit 2 or 3 more shots? Okay. Want to keep playing that game? Let's play that game. Karl-Anthony Towns only took 1 3. That's unlike him. He didn't hit any. What if he hit more? Right? So this what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda doesn't matter to me. Yeah, the Celtics missed 45 threes. Whose fault is that? Is it the Knicks' fault? Absolutely not. Do the Knicks have a hand in that? Absolutely. What they did was have a game plan, switch, switch, switch. It was the most switches on defense the Knicks have put out this entire season. They were okay getting Cat on an island at the top of the key. They were okay with Mitchell Robinson getting stuck on an island at the top of the key. They were okay with Jalen Brunson having to guard Jason Tatum at the top of the key because they were okay letting the Celtics force those long threes. Now, again, more often than not, the Celtics aren't going to shoot 25% from 3. We're all on the same page. But if you want to play the what-if game, you got to play it across the board. So what's going to happen now in Game 2? And this brings me to my second point. The Boston Celtics will come out with a different energy. The Boston Celtics will come out with a different game plan. Jaylen Brown said it directly after the game in the post-game presser. They settled too much. They decided to just shoot the three, got too comfortable, and didn't get in the paint and attack. So you know what they're going to do in game 2? They're not going to take 60 three-pointers. They're going to still take their fair share, but you better believe that this team is going to try to get to the rack, that Tatum and Brown and Derek White will all make a concerted effort to get inside. Now, what does that mean for the math of this series? What does that mean for the New York Knicks defense? Well, to me, it means two things. Number one, that's why Mitchell Robinson has been so important to this team and continues to show why they missed him so much this season. Based upon the conversations we had on this podcast and we've had across the nation, and especially here in New York about the New York Knicks defense all year, where do you think they ranked for the season? They were sitting in the 20s. At one point in the early season, they were in the high 20s. Then they get to the high teens. Well, they ended 13th. It's a large in part because of Mitchell Robinson and what he led this team to be on defense in that final stretch. It's not always pretty with Mitch. He moves like a baby deer. We get it. Sometimes he makes a boneheaded play. Sometimes he looks like the man. In that entire run against the Boston Celtics, Mitchell Robinson had a major factor. He only had 3 points. He was 3 of 10 from the line. But guess what? The highest plus minus in the entire game. Not just on the Knicks, but in the entire game. Plus 13. It's because of how he affects everyone around him on defense. It's something that I've been talking about this entire season before he came back. We love Karl Anthony Towns for what he does on offense sometimes. I'll say most of the times. But we don't always love Cat for the defensive side. Mitch makes people think twice. Out guarding a shooter on the perimeter, he makes them shoot a little higher. In near the rim, we know what he does affecting shots. He changes the math. He played 21 minutes. If there wasn't Hack-a-Mitch, he would have played more. So all of a sudden, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is one of the ones who actually did get to the rim and cut like a real basketball player there in game 1. He's one of the only people who took more than half his shots not from 3. In fact, he took exactly half his shots not from 3. So did Jaylen Brown. But you get the point. Not when Tatum took 15 of 23 from 3. Mitchell Robinson will be big here. Also, the defense with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and Josh Hart is playing at an all-time high. They are willing to get in the passing lanes, and more importantly, they're willing to get out and run. They're willing to get in fast break and make the Boston Celtics uncomfortable. So when the Boston Celtics obviously come out with this newfound game plan in game 2, guess who's expecting it as well? Tom Thibodeau, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. You get the picture. Think the Knicks are going to be shocked when the Celtics shoot a few less threes and try to get to the rim? No. If I can figure it out, they can figure it out, and they better. Because Boston's going to come out with their hair on fire in game 2. They can afford to play with their food and lose this one at home. They can't lose 2 at home. Because right now, the minus 340 odds that we're looking at, that's going to jump even more if the Knicks win game 2. And we're talking about even series. It's a shame that it's still going to be even, but that's how much better the Celtics technically are than the New York Knicks. But what we saw from this Knicks team in game 1 was a different level of grit, a different level of intensity that we hadn't known from this team this season. I've thought a lot about the teams of the past 2 years, especially last year's team with Dante DiVincenzo and Isaiah Hartenstein. A team that we fell in love with because of the grit, because of the balls that they played with, because of the shots that they would take, and the gumption that you knew they'd bring on the court every single night. It was obvious when the New York Knicks hit the court last year that they were going to ball and they were going to leave it all out there. That didn't exist this season. So far this playoff, say what you want about Tom Thibodeau's adjustments. Say what you want about the shot selection of Jalen Brunson or Karl Anthony Towns. Say what you want about the offensive game plan or lack thereof. What they've given us back as fans so far this postseason is the balls to the wall mentality. It starts with Josh Hart. It goes with Jalen Brunson and OG and goddamn Mikal Bridges. I don't want to hear about 5 first-round picks anymore. It don't bother me. This team's trying to win. For a while, we didn't think they had a chance to win against the great teams. They just showed us that they can hang. They showed us in the last game of the series against Boston, they can hang. This is the first whole version of the New York Knicks, and they're just as healthy, if not healthier, than the Boston Celtics right now. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to sit out here and pick the Knicks to win game 2, because I'm also a realist. If you remember back from the Open, 2 things can be true at once. The New York Knicks made this a real series. But the other thing that's true is the Celtics are still favorite for a reason. So to the Knicks fans out there talking smack, expecting this to now go super long, expecting the Knicks' chances to win each game to be higher and higher, I got news for you. The Celtics are still 9-point favorites in game 2, as they should be. Sam Hauser's out for Boston. We'll see what happens with Porzingis. That doesn't matter. They're going to come out on fire, but so are the Knicks. They showed us that much to this point. And now my third thing. It's about 2 guys, or 3 guys in particular. 3 guys who we questioned what's going to go down. We questioned how are they going to make this work here in the playoffs. And it's not to do with Jalen Brunson because we know what he's doing. It's not to do with Josh Hart because we know what he's doing. It's not to do with OG Anunoby because he's asserted himself as that guy, that number 3, possibly number 2 on this team. This section is about 3 people. It starts with Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and Miles McBride. I'm going to go in reverse order here because it's from simplest to most complex. Deuce McBride's confidence and Deuce McBride's ability to hit shots is paramount to the Knicks' success. If Deuce McBride is able to shoot like he did in game 1, he can stay on the court because we know what he brings defensively. And it was frankly shocking that he couldn't hit shots in that Pistons series. Because this isn't Miles McBride's first playoff experience. He's been here. He's done it. Not on the biggest stage just yet, but we know he's done it and we know he can do it. His ability to hit shots is huge. It let Jalen Brunson sit for an extra 2-3 minutes in that fourth quarter. It helped this team defend the plethora of options that Boston has to throw at us. That's number 1. His arrival and his confidence is huge. Second, Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges, 5 first-round picks. I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. He's on this team. He's a warrior. He's an Iron Man. He played 51 damn minutes in game 1. Now, I want to say strictly and simply respect this man. But I know to the Mikal Bridges haters, outside of the end of the fourth and overtime, you still don't want to hear it, okay? And I'm with you. 3 for 13, 8 points, it's not good enough. Yes, he added 6 assists. Yes, he added 6 rebounds. 7 assists, 6 rebounds. He had 3 blocks and 2 steals. That's great. And he played great in a majority of fashions in that game. But to the point about the Celtics missing 45 3-pointers, let's talk about Mikal Bridges having one of the most confident moments in his career at the end of that Boston Celtics game. He don't look scared. He's going to show up in a different way in one of these next 2 games. He's not going to shoot 3 of 13. He's going to hit some more threes. He's going to have his 20-point performance. And you should be confident in that. And lastly, Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm going to just tell you this. Karl-Anthony Towns should not be given up upon. I nearly made the mistake. It was the end of the third, start of the fourth, and I'm texting my buddies. You can't start Cat in the fourth. How are you going to play this guy in the fourth? You should leave him out until this lead goes back down and then maybe bring him in and just let him be a catch and shooter. That's what I thought. I was wrong. Karl-Anthony Towns has to play. He has to play next to Mitch. He has to play without Mitch. And frankly, back to the main point here, if you think that the outcome is going to be the same in game 2, this is going to need to be part of the Karl Towns story. He can't do another 14-point game. He can't play an entire second half in foul trouble again. Karl-Anthony Towns will be heard from in this series. He will also be heard from for wrong reasons. And I'm not saying this to make an excuse for the guy. I'm not saying this to say that what Karl Towns does is all okay and I'm all happy with it, because that's not true. But what I'm trying to express to you guys is that this is basically who this man is. And in order for him to be as effective as possible for this team to win more games in this series, you got to ride this man. You got to give him every shot. You have to set him up for some more offense. As a big who shoots threes, you're not finding your own shot. That's not how it goes. Brunson, McHale, Hart, Deuce, OG, they got to get this man involved. They got to get him some jump shots. Because if you want to find a way to combat the Celtics shooting 25% from three, or I should say not shooting 25% from three again in game 2, that's the man to do it. Karl Towns, dagger threes, top of the key, pick and pop. That's how you get back. Because right now, if you're feeling how I'm feeling, you're still feeling like this is the Celtics series to lose. And that should be expected. That should be true. If you're a Knicks fan saying otherwise, you're too big for your britches right now. You're getting a little ahead of yourselves. The cart is before the horse. There's so much work to be done. But what the Knicks proved is that they're in it to win it. And importantly to me, this is the first time in the Jalen Brunson era in the playoffs that the Knicks are playing with nothing to lose. Go through the series, right? Last year, can you imagine if they lost to Philly? Would have been a dramatic, horrible loss. Before they got injured against Indiana, if they lose that, dramatic, horrible loss. This year against Detroit, if they lose that, dramatic, horrible loss. Regroup the entire organization. Now what? You come into Boston. They are minus 900 favorites, and you're plus 650. No one in their right mind thinks you have a chance to even go 6 or 7, let alone win this damn thing. But you know what that does? That lets you grab up all the bulletin board material. That lets you play with nothing to lose. That takes the fear of losing and throws it out the window. I expect nothing less than battles from this Knicks team. They did it in the first series, and you would say, hey, they weren't good enough to compete with Boston if they played how they did in Detroit. Well, maybe they played to their competition, and I know this. They're going to continue to do so. My prediction, one of the next 2 games, they're going to get beat up a little bit. Boston's going to shoot 45% from 3. They're going to lose. It's not going to be incredibly close. But this series is going 6 or 7. And the New York Knicks are here. The New York Knicks, a team that we thought had no chance in this series, have given a glimmer of hope. Have given New York fans a reason to fall in love with them again. So my advice to you, if you're a Knicks fan, why are we sitting here talking about 5 first-round picks when this dude's playing 51 minutes, grinding, guarding everybody, making the biggest plays on both ends? Get over it. McHale's here. He's here to stay. Karl Anthony Towns, you're going to be pissed occasionally. You're going to be frustrated occasionally. But guess what? He's going to swing a game in this series. And the rest of this group, what more can you say? Jalen Brunson, Captain Clutch, he does it again. I mean, if he didn't miss that shot in the fourth quarter, golly, he would be even more a hero. But he did what he needed to do. And so did the Knicks. So if you're with me and you thought, because you're a realist, Celtics in 6, maybe you said Celtics in 5, maybe you gave the Knicks 7. I wouldn't move off that completely yet because I have to keep it real with you guys. But this has got interesting, huh? This just got real, huh? Yeah, the New York Knicks are in it. And the New York Knicks are going to battle and be that team that we fell in love with the last 2 years. That's all we got. Now, if you hit me on Twitter at Subway Sports Talk, I did a great little live on Twitter, the Twitter Spaces, right after the game on Monday night. I plan to record it and post it as a podcast as well. We had 75 plus people in there on the Spaces, which was great. Had multiple people popping in, talking to me, which was awesome. Had a lot of fun with that. And I plan to do more of those in the future. But unfortunately, I didn't record it correctly. So unless you wanted to hear a segment of me talking for a few minutes and then nodding along to nobody because it wasn't recorded properly, That's why it's not on the podcast app. But follow us on Twitter at Subway Sports Talk, because I'm going to hop on more spaces moving forward throughout the rest of these playoffs. And also, we got YouTube, you know where that is, and all your podcast apps, as well as Instagram and TikTok. So that's all we got. My name is Pete Kennedy. Appreciate you as always. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and we will talk to you soon. Game 2, Wednesday night. Cheers.